Still don't know how to start these. Welcome back to the Data Protection Diaries. Welcome back to the vlog. Today we are talking about another fine. Yes, that's right, you heard it. Another fine from the UK's Information Commissioner's Office. This time it's for 1.25 million and it's against Ticketmaster, so the ticket selling site. Now, this isn't as significant as potentially the BA and the Marriott fines, but it is still significant, and there's some interesting points as to why that is. As always, if you find this video useful, if you find this content interesting, if you're new to the channel, etc., please do make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Hit that little notification bell as well. I think 70% of the people that are watching these videos aren't yet subscribed, so do make sure that you subscribe. Also, hit like and let us know if you've got any comments or questions in the comments section down below. All of these things are just really useful for us to show YouTube that these videos are useful, content is interesting, etc, etc, etc. Anyway, let's get on with the vlog. The ICO have released the news that they have fined Ticketmaster, the ticket selling website, £1.25 million for security failings following a security breach that occurred back in February 2018. Now, what makes this one particularly interesting is that the breach occurred through an online chatbot payment system that they were using on their ticketing site. It seems as though somebody, or an organisation or somebody, managed to infiltrate that chatbot system and essentially pretend to be Ticketmaster when obviously they weren't. So people were making purchases through the payment portal and thinking they were paying Ticketmaster, and they weren't. Somebody else was collecting their card information. What makes this particularly interesting is that Ticketmaster were actually informed of a potential incident and something potentially going wrong by two different banks. So Barclays Bank, I believe a Visa and MasterCard as well, and actually Monzo Bank, so the new sort of startup flashy bank, all informed Ticketmaster that they had had reports of fraudulent activity on their customers' cards that had some correlation to the time when they were attempting to purchase tickets through the Ticketmaster website. You would think that if somebody had informed you of that and you were getting a number of phone calls from a number of different places, that you might take that relatively seriously. Maybe you'd want to do a bit of investigation. No, Ticketmaster didn't. It took them 9 weeks from the point they were first informed before they started to put any actions in place to investigate these suspected fraudulent activities and these suspected fraudulent transactions. 9 weeks. In that time, I believe there was, let me just double check, so 9.4 million people affected across the EU, and 1.5 million of those people were in the UK. Around 60,000 fraudulent transactions were recorded by Barclays, and Monzo issued 6,000 replacement cards to its customers after suspected cases of fraud. Obviously, not an insignificant incident. What's also interesting about this is actually the fine has been issued, or the fine that has been issued has been agreed by all of the EU member states. So because this took place in February 2018 and Ticketmaster is a UK-based company, the Information Commissioner's Office was actually the lead authority for the investigation. So this fine has been approved and agreed by all of the other European representatives, and they've come together and they've made that decision, and the fine has been issued by the ICO. This is potentially going to be one of the last fines that we'll see where there has been complete EU cooperation, because obviously the UK has now technically left the EU, and therefore the ICO will no longer work as a lead supervisory authority, which I think is a real shame. Not interested in getting into politics in this, but from a regulatory perspective, as you can see, this has demonstrated how the different parts of the EU, the different regulators can work together to come to a good, sensible decision and issue a perfectly reasonable, sensible fine. So it's a shame that we're not going to be a part of that any longer. So what could Ticketmaster have done differently? Well, straight off the bat, they could have listened to the fact that concerns were being reported to them. We're not talking about just one or two concerns, we're talking about multiple concerns being reported to them. So they could have acted a lot quicker, which would have saved potentially a lot of people from suffering fraud, could have saved them a lot of money, and also very likely would have reduced the level of the fine, if not even maybe mitigated the need for a fine at all. They could have also made sure that their security and technical controls were up to date. They should have carried out a more in-depth review of the chatbot to make sure that it was secure and to make sure that the technology they were using to secure that system was appropriate and it was tested. That can be done in a number of ways. It could be done through just baseline security testing. It could be done through penetration testing by an external party. There's a number of different ways they could have done that. And it's a shame that an organization of that relative size didn't decide or didn't think that those things were appropriate to do in the first place. Is the fine significant? I think it is. You know, it's not as big as some of the other fines, and I know a lot of people are shouting for huge, massive BA Marriott style fines, but I don't think that's relevant, and I don't think that's required here. I think 1.25 million is not an insignificant amount of money. It's making a statement. The ICO is pushing fines out on a fairly regular basis at the minute. That could just be because they've got a backlog of stuff to push through. But as far as the press is concerned, as far as the industry and the world at large is concerned, I think it's putting a good message across, and it's demonstrating to businesses that if you mess about, if you're not taking security seriously and you're not looking after information, then you do stand to be issued. You do stand to receive a substantial fine, and it can be detrimental to your business. So I think it's a good thing, and I think we're in a really good place. As always, it's a fairly succinct view of the world. So if you do have any questions, please do comment those down below or get in touch over on LinkedIn. And of course, if you enjoy these videos, please do make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thanks very much.